Hey, boring old guy here. Thanks for joining me. Today I wanted to show you a thrift store score of mine, cast iron muffin pan. Let me show you this a little bit closer. So this little beauty set me back $4.99. Muffin pans of this era, also known as gem pans. Look it up on the internet. You can find lots of gem recipes, about as many as there are muffin recipes. G-E-M, gem. So this particular model has the dual logo, Wagner and Griswold. You can see made in the USA. That puts it after 1960. Doing some research into this dual logo pan, it looks like it was manufactured, say, between 1960 and 1965. Wagner purchased Griswold back in the later part of the 50s. And then that company was sold off to another company, who was sold off to another company. Essentially, they were phasing out the Griswold name and transitioning to the Wagner Ware. So for about a 4 or 5 year period, they made these dual logo pans. Nothing especially rare or valuable about them, just interesting, right? So this particular thing looks like it was sitting in a cupboard for a very long time. It has some remnants of a seasoning, but it also has some dirt and some buildup here that I need to get rid of. So I'm going to take it over to the sink. I'm going to use some baking soda and some vinegar and a little soft scrub bristle, and we're going to try to clean this thing up, and we'll put a season on it. So it looks like this thing was sitting into the cupboard for a pretty long time. It's kind of sticky in here. Was not stored upside down, right? You can tell that just the cupboard gunk has started to build up on it. It looks like there's some remnants of an old seasoning on it. So I'm just going to start scrubbing on this thing, and we'll see how much of that crud I can get off of the surface there. All right, you can see I'm starting to get some gunk. It's turning brown. Starting to make some progress here. Well, that didn't take very long. You can see the gunk that's coming out of there. So I'm going to add a little bit of acid to the mix. Keep scrubbing for a little bit longer. All right, I've let that sit about a half an hour, and I'm just scrubbing on it a little bit more. See, the water inside here is, what do you want to call it? The solution inside here is really turned brown. And I'm seeing a lot more of the pan than I was. So you don't want to let the vinegar sit on there for longer than about a half an hour or so. You don't want the acid eating through the cast iron, right? So I'm about ready to finish this thing off. Let's see what we've got going on here. Look at all of that gunk that's coming up with that foam. From what I can see, this is starting to look pretty good. All right, let's give this thing a rinse. Not going to worry about scrubbing the back side of this thing. It shows a little bit of surface rust. That'll be just fine once it gets a season on it. That definitely looks cleaner than it did. Can't feel any gunk on the bottom anymore. All right, we're ready to season this thing. Okay, I thoroughly dried this by using the elements on the stovetop. You can see a little bit of surface rust showing there. Don't worry about that. That'll come off with the seasoning. So let's start the seasoning process. I've got vegetable oil here. You can use Crisco, you can use grapeseed oil. There's a plethora of different kinds of oils that you can use. Grandma used Crisco, right? But anything with a high smoke point will do the trick. The objective here is just to smear it on good. Flip it over, do it to the other side. Just apply it liberally. All right, now that I've got it completely saturated with oil, I'm going to put it into a 500-degree oven for an hour. All right, so I put a foil liner down to catch anything that is going to drip off of that pan. What you're doing here is polymerizing the oil to the surface of the cast iron. So 1 hour, set the timer. All right, that is an hour. Oh, that's looking nice. So you can see just one seasoning in there. Put a nice dark shine on it. So I'm ready to start using this thing. So thanks for watching as I put a season on my thrift store treasure here. So until next time, when I bake a batch of muffins in here, take a hike.